Okay, there we go. It's picked back up. Okay. Um, the final exam will count for 20% unless we are told otherwise. And as of right now, the EOC will count for 20% unless we are told otherwise. We are waiting on the State Board of Education. It is not a district by district decision, as far as I know, to let us know. Each district may choose to count that test differently. I know that over the summer, whether they counted the test one way or the other, were back in last spring. So put a pin in that. Hold on to that thought. Your district may choose to count that test differently, but we are still waiting for a statewide decision. Okay. Some districts, anyways, for the completion of our course, Georgia Virtual School is requiring the final or the EOC. Okay. I know some districts are doing it differently, but because we are statewide, we have to choose to do it one way and do that for all of our students. Georgia Virtual School is requiring a final or EOC to finish the course. This isn't quite correct. Apparently I forgot to change it. So we are going to pretend that this does not say Wednesday. Let me think. It is actually December 10th, which is a Thursday. Okay, so this May 9th thing, that's that. You can ignore that. That's a boo-boo. Where can I draw this? I can. I've turned on my annotations. Yay me. All right, so that's not a thing. This isn't a thing either. This is true. It is on a Thursday. It is on a 10th, but it's actually on December 10th. I wish it was on my phone. I can use my screen. December 10th. So the final exam is on December 10th. Finals open at 12 a.m. on the 10th, and they should already be open. I think I have to check on that. They may not be open right now, but they will certainly be open in time for you to take them next week. And I think you have to take the final by the 10th. I think that's the way it's working out. And if you don't take it on the 10th, which is the second to last day of the course, you get a phone call from me. And I call you and I say, you got to take the final, dude. And I put the smack down. And then you got to take it on that Friday. So take it on that Thursday. Please save me the trouble of having to call a billion different students. I have had so many students in this course, like it's insane. So please take your final when you're supposed to take it, if you're supposed to take it. Now, I say if you're supposed to take it because the 34 something of you that are supposed to take the EOC and not the final exam will not be able to access that final. Okay, you'll be blocked. We do this because we have had some students in the past that weren't paying attention to life and took both tests. So it is much safer for us to just block it, because that student was very angry that she missed all of the announcements and all of the instructions, that she was not supposed to take the final exam and went and took it anyway, and that was very angry that she had wasted her time and took the final exam, blah, 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 blah. I should count it for something. I'm like, no, honey, you weren't supposed to take it. You weren't paying attention. That's not my fault. So it will be blocked. You will not be able to access it. Do not at me on this one. Every single semester I get students, I can't access the final because you're not supposed to take it. I will laugh at you. I will, okay? Don't take the final exam if you're supposed to take the EOC. You won't be able to access it. Every single semester, I get people on my survey giving me a bad review because they couldn't access the final, and that hurt their final grade. No, it didn't, because you weren't supposed to take it. You're supposed to take the EOC. I'm a little salty about this, okay? So I get a little worked up about it. Anyways, moving on. Once you enter the final exam, you must complete the entire exam within the given time. I have to reset the final at least once every year because somebody misses this instruction. Do not open the test unless you are ready to take the whole thing. I cannot be more clear about this. I have had to reset the exam, but don't make me do it. Do not wait until the last minute to take your finals. If you start your final at 11 p.m., you will not have enough time to finish. Right click has been disabled to discourage cheating. Okay. The final exam is, where's the, forget, I believe it's 90 minutes. Yes. Okay. Let's jump here real quick. The final exam is 90 minutes. You have a maximum of 90 minutes and it is 60 questions. If you have a IEP or a 504 where you are permitted to have extra time, that has already been added for you, and it does apply to the final exam as well. So if you have a 50% addition 504 or IEP, that means that you get 135 minutes to finish that exam. Okay. If you have 100% extension on tests and quizzes for your 504 IEP, that means you get 180 minutes, which comes out to 3 hours. Those of you who don't know what that means that some students that need extra time for either a physical or a special need as a student, they have documentation that means that they are permitted to have extra time. That does not apply for everyone. There are only a select few in our courses that have those extensions, and those have already been applied. They are ready and waiting for you, so you don't need to wait on those. Grades. Let me check on this date real quick. I know where to find it. Make sure that I can be very super duper uber extra clear for you. It was on my dashboard. Oh, I cleared it. Well, now I have to go check my email. Gosh darn it. I saw it just earlier today, and I cleared the notification, and now I regret it. Let's see. Grades are typically released. Grades are typically released the Tuesday after the course closes. No, that's not correct. I apologize, you guys. I usually have this date, but I think I lost it. Let me check the calendar and see if that tells me. Okay, final exam on December 10th. Course closes December. It doesn't tell me. Nope, it doesn't tell me. Does anyone remember seeing when the grades were going to be made available? My best guess is actually going to be that it's probably December 17th. Because I think a week after the course final exam date is usually what we do. I know it is not long. It is not long at all. It's only about a week or so after the final exam and the course closes. So we're going to take a shot at December 17th and say that's when the grades will be released. I know I have to have them completely turned in and totally finished by, I believe, the Monday following the course closure. So it's like December 13th or 12th or something that I have to have the grades in. It's no, it's like 13th or 14th. So I believe, and I apologize, I don't know this exact date. I believe it's December 17th because it's usually about a week after the final exam. Okay, so yes, thank you so much, Litzy. I appreciate you looking up. I cleared the notification earlier. I was like, oh, I'm gonna remember that. Guess what? I didn't remember that. So yes, December 17th sounds appropriate. Thank you so much for checking on that for me, making me look a little bit less like an idiot. Okay, so here's how that grade will go. Most of you will have a completed grade by that day. Okay, so all of you that have to take the final exam, which is everybody in the A course and those 3 people in the AB course, if you take the final exam, you will have a completed, done, here's your grade by December 17th. If you take the EOC, the only situation where you will have a completed grade by December 17th is if you already took it. Okay, so some of you, your school required you to have taken it already. Not all schools do that. Some of them might be asking you to do it on, like, I don't know, the 18th or whatever, which is the last day that Gainesville is going to be open. If that's the case, you will obviously not have a completed grade. You will see incomplete on the 17th. That's most of you in the AB course. Almost all of you in the AB course will see an incomplete on December 17th. And that's okay. That doesn't mean that you didn't finish the course. It doesn't mean that you're being punished or whatever, or there's something wrong. If there is something wrong, we'll let you know. But that is usually pending the EOC grade. And I try to put a comment in there just to help alleviate students and go in and worry about it. It's pending the EOC grade because we cannot calculate your final grade until we get that grade. Okay, because it counts as 20%. That's a lot of mathing that we have to do in order to make sure that works out. I can tell you what the 80% part is, typically, but we still have to wait for that 20% part for the EOC. No, you will be done. You will be locked out on the 11th. You will have to check your grades and registration. You cannot get into Canvas anymore after the 11th. And that's in order to let me do a whole bunch of magic behind the scenes. There's a lot that I do after the course closes completely. There are some assignments that I choose not to grade until after the course closes. So after the 11th, you cannot get back into Canvas at all, and you have to go look in registration to see your grade. You're not going to go into Canvas to see that. No, that's fine. I think I got you figured out. So a couple of things. Do not email me asking me what your final grade is, especially on the 11th or the 12th or the 13th even. On the 14th is when I submit your grades. When I go in and I've got everything done, I've got everything graded. Like I said, there are some assignments I actually intentionally wait until after the course closes to grade. The final exam being one of them. Okay, and I'll tell you why. I don't know. I don't care. I wait until after the course closes, and this is actually something that has been advised by our administration to grade the final exam. The reason for this is once you take that final exam, ain't nothing you can do about it. It is better for us to close the course and then grade those finals because it is just better for the students and the sanity of the teachers. Because let's say you fail your final exam. I'm sorry, I can't let you take it again. So if you see that you failed your final exam, but I haven't finished the math for the rest of the course, I don't want you having a panic attack that you failed the course, because if you had a 90 something or an 8, like a 95 on all your coursework, and then you suddenly fail the final because of something, I don't know, which really wouldn't make any sense anyways. It doesn't make any sense to fail the final if you got a 95, but you wouldn't fail a course. You would still pass because of that 80-20 thing. So we don't want you seeing that final exam. You will know what you got on the final exam when your final grade is released. We'll tell you the 80% of the course, and we'll tell you the 20% of the final exam. Okay. So that's one of the reasons why there are certain assignments I hold off on. Typically the final draft for the research paper, for those of you in the AB course as well, I hold off on that one until after, because of various reasons that I've just found it's just best for everybody involved to not release those grades until after. They will just calculate into your course grade. Another thing is that due to FERPA, which is the law that protects your privacy as a student, there are certain ways that I am not permitted to share your personal information. And the grade that you get on assignments is considered personal information. Therefore, I am not permitted to email or text message grades. Okay. So it's best not to ask, because I can't do it anyway. There has only been a very few situations that I have texted grades, and that has been to a parent with their express permission that it is okay to text that grade. And I'll usually screenshot that too. But anyways, another reason why it wouldn't be a waste of your time to email me or asking me about your final grade is because I will not have finished it. Once the course closes, like I said, there's a ton of magic I do behind the scenes. There are certain assignments that I intentionally hold off on. I also make sure I go through every single flipping discussion post and make sure that I have every single reply marked and graded. Y'all have discovered that Canvas is an idiot and does not inform us when students post replies. So I have to manually go through every single discussion board and every single discussion posted by every single student to determine and make sure that your replies were posted and that I have graded them. Okay, I know that that's an annoying thing for you guys to have to wait to get those grades, but it is a lengthy process, and that's something I do typically after the course closes. There are other things that I do, such as applying extra credit that was earned to make sure that I got all that in. There's a couple other things that I do after the course closes that benefit you that I do not do while the course is open. Okay. So if you email me on Saturday after the course closes next Saturday and say, hey, what's my grade? I won't have it ready for you because I'm not done doing my magic. All right, so the final exam is 90 minutes and 60 questions. And I warn you very sternly not to wait until Friday night at 11 o'clock to open that exam. You will end up getting locked out before you finish. Friday, December 11th at 11:59 p.m., you will be kicked out of the course so that we can start doing our work. Do not wait until 11 o'clock, 11:30, even 10:30 on Friday, December 11th to start your exam. It is a 90-minute test with 60 questions. Give yourself the full time, especially if you have an IEP or a 504. Make sure you calculate enough time before the course closes to take it. This is 97.2% of the reason why we want you to take the exam on Thursday and not on Friday. We want you to take the exam on Thursday, not Friday of next week, to make sure you have plenty of time and you don't accidentally get locked out, because believe it or not, that has happened. I'm just going to leave that there and move on. All right, for the exam, the questions will test your knowledge of the stories and grammar assignments that you have completed this semester. Ignore this part about speech. I don't teach speech anymore. We don't even offer speech anymore. It wasn't a popular enough course. It was very popular for a while and then it died. Anyways, the exam chooses questions from previous quizzes and post tests. So study old quizzes. This is a huge tip. Pay attention to this tip, okay? This question bank that the final exam draws questions from is the exact same question bank that your module tests have been taking questions from all along. Couple of things on that. Now, let's say the Native Encounters test was a 25 question test and there were 40 questions in the question bank. That means, of course, that there are 15 questions in that question bank that you never saw. Therefore, do not open the final exam without studying, thinking, I have seen every question on this test before, I'm going to rock this thing. The chances of that happening are low. It is likely that you will have seen maybe half to more of the questions before. Now, when you take a module test, you will only be able to see the questions you got wrong and what the correct answer is. You will not see the questions you got right. We do this for test security. We use the same test bank every single semester, so we're not writing new tests every semester because that is difficult. So difficult, you have no idea. I hate writing tests. It is one of my least favorite tasks as a teacher. That being said, therefore, so if you say out of the 25 questions on the test, you got 2 wrong, great for you. But that means that you will only be able to see those 2 questions. So the assumption is that if you get the same question that you had before on your final exam, you'll get it right. But we want you to go back and check those previous exams, the module exams, for the questions that you got wrong so you don't get them wrong again if you happen to see that question on your final. Okay, so go and you take a look at those module exams. It might send you in a direction for your studying to tell you, oh, I really didn't understand this text. I should go read it again. And hopefully then you'll be able to understand the correct answer to that question. Okay, this is a big thing. This is a big thing that is really an advantage for you, but be careful with that advantage that you don't take advantage of that advantage and ignore studying because you've seen all the test questions before. You have not. You have guaranteed not seen all the questions before. You will have seen some of them before, and you will only be able to study the questions that you got wrong. Okay? Okay, I already went over that. Some other things that you might want to do in order to prepare for that final exam. Obviously, you need to go back and make sure that you understand the units that you got some poor scores on when it comes to those module exams. Go back and make sure that you study, and if it's a particular text or a particular time period that you didn't understand, go back and make sure you do that. Aside from reviewing the old quizzes, go back and look at the module minutes for each unit. That gives you a really good summary of what's happened in that unit. And if there's anything that sounds unfamiliar or you don't really remember, go back and review that. This will provide you with an overview of what you should have learned or covered in that unit. Also review the characteristics of the covered time periods. For example, Romanticism. What were some of the characteristics of Romanticism? Or what was some of the characteristics of Puritanism, of those kind of things. You can complete the self-assessments throughout the modules as many times as you want. Those little self-assessments, the little mini quizzes, those do not hit your grade book. And I hope you all have figured that out by now. Those little mini quizzes that you take inside the units do not hit your grade book. So you can take them as many times as you need to in order to get them right. So I highly suggest you do that because that might help you get some of the questions that you may not have been exposed to before. If there's any particular text or any particular module or any particular part of a module that you skipped before because you were just trying to rush through, go back and take a look at that. Okay, those of you that have to take the EOC, when you register for the test, especially if you register in person at school, make sure you get a copy of the Georgia EOCT American Literature Study Guide. Okay, you can get a paper copy of that so you can write all over it and you can take, practice questions and stuff like that. If you do not get it, It is available very, very easily on a Google search. It's available as a PDF online, and then you can either keep it on your computer, download it as a file, or you can print it. That's the Georgia EOC American Literature Study Guide. That is a very, very helpful document. I've looked at that a few times, and I've appreciated what I found there. So make sure you get your hands on that if you have to take the EOC either from your school or find it on the internet. USA Test Prep is also an excellent resource to help you prepare for the test, including practice tests. Georgia Virtual School pays for you to have an account on USA Test Prep for that EOC. Okay. What I would highly recommend you do, if you have not taken your test yet, and you won't be taking it until after the course closes, make sure you write down that USA Test Prep login information so that you can continue to access it after the Canvas course closes. Okay, be a second. I'm going to go make sure I put this information where it needs to be found. I'm pretty sure I put it in course resources. Dashboard. Into the course. Yep, there it is. Okay, so if you go to the main page of the course and you click on class resources, the little target with the orange arrow, scroll down slightly and the second green bar for USA Test Prep has both the school ID and the activation code. You'll need to create your own username and password, but that's what you need in order to get into our paid account so that you can use USA Test Prep without having to pay for it. And you can take the practice exams that give you an idea of what the EOC is like, and as well as a lot of the kind of concepts that might be on that test. I use USA Test Prep with my sixth graders. Okay, we use it all the time. It is an excellent, excellent resource that really does help students prepare for state level mandated testing. Okay, I highly recommend you do that. Take some practice tests. In fact, you have the opportunity to get some extra credit by taking some of those practice tests. And I'll tell you about that in a little bit. Each EOC is composed of 2 sections, and students are given 60 minutes to complete each section. So it's a total of 2 hours. There is also a short stretch break between the 2 sections of the test. All of the questions on the EOC are multiple choice. Each section of the American Literature and Composition EOC contains 40 questions. There are a total of 80 questions on the American Literature and Composition EOCT. The OCT will count as 20% of your grade. There will be informal and literary passages on the American Literature and Composition EOCT. All the passages will either be pieces of American literature or pieces about American literature. And again, I highly recommend you get that PDF study guide. It's very helpful. Okay, so some of you might be wondering what happens after I take the UCT? How are you going to get my score? Your score will be reported to GABS and input into our system in order to generate your final course score. So that kind of falls back on your high school. Okay. Once we get the score, we actually put it in very quickly, like within 1 to 2 days, very quickly. If we haven't gotten your score yet, we can't put it in. So if you look in the system and you still see that you took your EOCT 2 weeks ago, but you still don't have your score, that's probably your high school's fault. We do have had some experiences with some high schools that are very slow in getting this test scores to us. So listen closely for a second. Let me tell you what happens, okay? So you take the test. Your test results go to the EOCT board, grader, or whatever. It goes to EOCT people first. Then it gets passed on to your high school, and then it gets passed on to us, and then we mathematically do our magic and give you your final course score, counting in your DOCT score. Obviously, if your school is dragging their feet and getting the scores to us, your score may take a little bit longer. the EOCT is graded and sent to your school pretty quickly. I don't know how quickly, but I've heard it is not an extended period of time. And then your school's supposed to get it to us. And once we get it, we add it pretty quickly. So students always ask me near the end of the year, what can I do to do better? What can I do to make my grade better? Okay. One of the things that you can do is go over your grade book with a fine tooth comb. Okay. Check that all assignments have a grade. Yes, I understand that there are still some assignments that I have not graded yet. I am looking right now at my A course, and there are 3 final drafts for the Crucible essay, which I don't know why those are still sitting there. They must have come in late. And 9 final drafts for the Huck Finn essay. I'm aware that I had not graded those yet because final drafts are very, very low on the priority. The next thing I will be doing, starting tonight, is actually the rough drafts for the research essay in the AB course. So that's what's going to happen next. So if you go over your grade book and find if there's any assignments that might have been missed, or maybe like discussion replies. Like I said, I do go through those discussions, all of them, every student, all of them, before I put in a final grade. But if you just want to make extra sure that I get it, you're more than welcome to go in and mark it or let me know. In regards to that, the research essay, if you are worried about me getting back to you on time with that research essay rough draft, those of you in the AB course, it is fine to go ahead and submit your rough draft again as the final draft and go and then edit it after I get it to you. I will 100% get that rough draft back to you before the course closes, give you a day or two to turn back around and turn in the final draft. Don't worry about the due date on that thing. If it's me that's getting it back late to you because I have 20 of them to grade. Oh, it's more than that. Oh, poop. It's more than that. Anyways, I have a lot of rough drafts to grade, so I'm going to be rolling them out as fast as I can. Continue working forward on the rest of the work in the course so that when I do get it back to you, you can focus exclusively on that final draft and everything is hunky-dory. Amazing. You can go in. We don't have any questions anymore, really, that are auto-graded fill in the blank questions. Most of them are manually graded, and I have to look at them with my own eyeballs. So that's not really something that's quite a thing anymore. But you might have find a question on one of your tests that you don't know if it was graded correctly or whatever. That happens every once in a while. So do yourself a favor, especially if you have extra time, to go in there and take a look at your grade book and see if you can find anything that might need to be adjusted. In regards to that as well, if there's an assignment that I sent back to you, for example, I graded a pile of yellow wallpaper assignments from the A course, and I did that just last night, in fact. And there was a couple that it was like 3 or 4 actually, where the student did not understand the assignment. So I put in a 0 and said, please try this again. So go look at your zeros. See if it's something I told you to try again. And gosh darn it, do it again so you can try to get some credit. I might have given some of them 20s because I liked what they did, but they didn't do it right. Okay, so go in and check those low grades. See if there's anything I told you that you can do better. You can only improve or change an assignment if I give you permission to do it. So go check the comments on low grades. The last day to receive credit for work due on, that's actually from the old schedule. So remember that for every day that you are late, you lose 10%. So let's say something was due on the 2nd. By the time it gets to the 11th, and it's the last day of the course, it's only going to be worth 10%. Okay. So make sure you complete all of your work by the time it is due, or you could be you can get slapped pretty hard by not turning it in on time. So this isn't relevant anymore. This is from the way that we used to do our schedules on Brightspace. That's not a thing anymore. All right. So I mentioned USA Test Prep a couple minutes ago, and I mentioned that you can get some extra credit by doing some of those practice exams. This is absolutely true. And don't worry about you that need to take the final. I will address you next. So in order to get some extra credit, and in order to also encourage you to use those USA Test Prep practice tests, here's your steps. Your first step is to attend the semester wrap-up class or watch the recording, which you or 3 of you are already doing now. And if you're watching the recording, yay you. Pay attention for the name. Oh, my recording isn't working. Oh, no, it's working. Never mind. Pay attention to the name of the TV show my sons are watching in the background. I have to make something up because my sons are not in the room right now. Complete a full-length EOCT practice exam. I'll show you the instructions on the next slide. Message or email me the name of the show and upload your screenshot to the ELO Dropbox, which I haven't made yet. I will have to do that. I just reminded myself. I will replace your lowest test grade with your practice test grade. So let's run through that. So you're already attending this class or watching the recording. The key word, let's see. Let's just say Pokemon. I'm going to say Pokemon because it's one of my son's favorite shows. Okay, so the key word is Pokemon. Pokemon, for those of you that don't know. Pokemon. Okay, so you watch this class. You want to take advantage of this opportunity. You remember the word Pokemon. You go sign up for USA Test Prep and you take a full-length practice test. Full length, not a half-sies, not a quarter, a full length. Yeah, that might take you a good amount of time, but you will not only be better prepared for the exam, but you also have an opportunity to get some extra credit. Take a screenshot or a picture of that score. Make sure that your name shows and that it shows that it was a full length. You either send me or email me. No, actually, just upload it, put it in the Dropbox, and put in the comments the keyword, the code word. Put in the word Pokemon in the comment when you submit your essay or submit your picture. So you're going to take a picture of your score. You're going to submit it to the appropriate Dropbox with, yes, I know I have it up yet, but I will have it up soon. And put in the comments the word Pokemon. The reason why I want you to put in the word Pokemon is to prove that you watched this whole recording. And then I will go in and I will take your lowest test grade and replace it with that score. I've had students that made a big difference, like multiples percent on their final score because they were able to get rid of a test grade. I will even put it in if your lowest test grade is a 0 because you missed the test. That could make a huge difference for you. So do this, okay? It's an awesome opportunity for you. Now, those of you that have the final, okay, this is due by December 11th, not May 11th. We know that now, okay? We all know that. We're talking about December, not May. This is how you sign up for USA Test Prep. The school ID is Georgia Virtual, lowercase, and the activation code is Newton88, and I do believe that N is capitalized, but please do try it not capitalized if it doesn't work because I can never remember. Also, again, this information is available in the class resources section of the homepage. All right, for those of you that have to take the final exam, attend this class, pay attention for the code word Pokemon, and choose one test to try again, even if it was one that you got a 0 on in the first place. Okay, so let's say you got a 50 on a test and you were really unhappy about that. Or let's say you're one of those people that's actually really hurt by getting an 85 on a test and you want to go take it again. text or email me the word Pokemon and tell me which test you want to take again, and I'll go out a second attempt for you. If it's a test that you didn't take in the first place because you were off schedule, you will still have that first attempt available to you. You're not locked out of it. Just text or email me for permission, and I'll let you know that it's okay. And then you go take that test and you clear that 0, and I will go in and make sure that it's not marked as late because you're using an extra credit opportunity. Okay, so those are very similar opportunities for those of you that are needing to take 2 different types of tests. So either the EOC or the final, you can use this opportunity. The code word for the same, both of them is still Pokemon. And I will make sure that Dropbox is up and ready for you guys. I do prefer that you have all of your work completed in order to take advantage of this extra learning opportunity. So those of you that need to take the EOC, the 10th and 11th of December, there's nothing scheduled on those days. Those would be fantastic days to start working on that. Start working on that USA Test Prep practice exam and use one of those 2 days to take a practice test. Since those are not next technically scheduled work days for you, go use those days. So that would make sure that you have got all your work done before you do that. You're going to want to make sure you have all your work done before you take the final exam anyways. So that just works out well anyways. So let's say you take the final exam on the 10th, you're all done with your work. The 11th would be a great opportunity to go retake some tests that you got a low grade on. Some do's and don'ts for the end of the semester that's just going to make everybody's life easier. Please don't email me for your course grade or your exam. I can't, and I won't. I'm not allowed, and I don't want to, for lots and lots of reasons. I've explained some of them already, but there's more. Instead, do use your time to prepare. I always end up, always end up with thousands of emails asking me, can I still pass? Goodness gracious, I don't know. I mean, if you're getting like a 40, the answer is probably no, unless I heavily redo your schedule and you complete all of that other 60% of the work that you didn't do, which is still a huge stretch. So instead, use your time to actually do your work and attempt to pass. Okay. Don't email me to ask me when I will finish grading assignments, especially at the end of the school year. Please don't do that. Understand that I'm working as quickly as I can. I have a full-time job. I teach at Gainesville Middle School, and I also have 4 children. Okay. I usually don't get a chance to grade until they're all in bed, and then I will grade a ton of stuff, and I'll usually end up falling asleep on the couch. This is just the way it goes. But I will absolutely have everything graded before your grades are due. And I will absolutely have all of your rough drafts done before the course closes. 100%. Cross my heart. Do not skip your EOCT or your final exam, even if you are failing. Even if you are failing the course. If you're discouraged by having a 61 in the course, but you do really well on that EOC, you may have just passed. Okay? Because remember, the EOCT and the final exam are currently, remember we discussed this, currently worth 20%. And if you pass those tests, even if you have a lower score in the course, you might just mathematically make it. Don't skip anything. Another thing that I really suggest you do is go back and make sure all of your discussion posts have 2 replies. I have some students that are really, really bad about leaving the reply post. So they have a 50 on most of their discussions. A 50. Okay, go back and make sure that you have 2 replies. It will take you less than 5 minutes per discussion post to do this, and you just saved yourself so much credit. So much credit. Make sure you do that before the course closes. Don't give up. Okay, that's the biggest don't at this point. Remember that even if you are failing now, teachers work averages and calculating exams after the course closes. You never know. Complete the rest of your work, prepare for exams, and try an ELO or two. Okay, so in both American A and American B, you have the opportunity to take advantage of the USA Test Prep or the retake for the final exam students. That's a huge one. I see a lot of changes in students' grades when they take advantage of these opportunities. Also, the other things that you can do is do some of the optional assignments. Those could help you too. Both courses have several optional assignments that are marked as optional. They don't count against you if you don't do them, but I give you 10% back on your lowest test scores if you do those optional assignments. That's huge. Okay, that's another thing you can do if you feel like you're discouraged and down and failing. Try some of those optionals. All right, I pretty much covered everything that I think I need to cover. If you want to start shooting questions at me, put them in the chat box. I'll hang out. Okay, I don't mean like registration, like you have to go register for the grades. It's the dashboard where you registered for the course for Georgia Virtual. So when you sign up for Georgia Virtual, you kind of have like a student information system, and then you can get into Canvas. So it's in that student information system. Okay, Jemiah, go ahead and send me an email to remind me of what happened there, and what assignments there are that are. Is it something that you've turned in that I just haven't graded? Yeah, just send me an email if there's anything in particular that you need me to grade that I either might have missed or skipped over. Okay, so are there still assignments that are zeros though? Oh, or were they assignments that you just didn't turn in because of Zeta? Oh, okay. Then I just haven't gotten to them yet. I have cleared out a lot. Oh my gosh, so much in the last couple of days. I went at it really hard when we got back from break, and I took it down from having 33 different types of assignments to grade to 16, which is huge. So if I haven't gotten to it yet, I will absolutely get to it. And then why don't you go ahead and just send me an email reminder, just so that I can make sure that I put those on there so I can take those zeros off. But yeah, that was something that we had discussed. Yeah, no problem. Of course. I was lucky. I lost power for like, I don't know, like an hour maybe. And I don't actually, I can't even tell you. I don't know how long it was because it was the middle of the night and I didn't even notice. I was the first one of my entire family to get power back. And my dad and my sister ended up spending the night at my house. It was I mean, on top of everything else that we were dealing with. Oh, hey, here's a hurricane that's going to kill your power for 3 days. So, go ahead and hit me with any other questions. Now's the time to do it. You've got me. I'm all yours. Whether it's about an assignment or the final or anything about finishing the year out, happy to help. Here I am. Okay. Um, as usual, the best way to get a hold of me is texting because I have always got my phone on me. I will frequently be walking down the hallways at school with my students, either heading to the bathroom or the lunchroom or whatever, texting my George Virtual students. That's the way things go. So if at any point you have a question either about something that you didn't think got covered tonight or it's something about an assignment specifically, it is best to text me. I will put my number here again in the chat for those of you that haven't used it. Yes, Dalton, go ahead, and if you have not gotten, is it due tomorrow for you? Yeah, okay. If I don't by chance get to your rough draft tonight, I'm going to grade some of them tonight, but obviously I cannot grade a whole course's worth tonight because I would like to sleep at some point. Go ahead and submit that final draft, the rough draft again, just so that Canvas doesn't penalize you. I don't like seeing your grades get slammed because of you not turning in a final draft. Yeah, and I always go back and take care of that. If by chance final draft was turned in late or whatever, I always go back and take care of that. So it's not a big deal. Yeah, no problem. Rough drafts just take a very, very long time to grade. But it's something that what I put my most amount of time into is grading rough drafts. Let's see. It depends on how late they are. Remember, you lose 10% per day. So if it's like more than 9 or 10 days, then the answer would be no. They wouldn't count, but have we adjusted your schedule yet? I think we have. Go ahead and send me an email. I don't want to share too much of your personal information in the chat here. Go ahead and send me an email with any of the assignments and we'll take a look at your schedule and see what we can do. I try to make sure my students that are working hard, and you are definitely one of them, don't end up getting slammed. As far last I checked, you were doing okay, but that was like a couple days ago. So, anyways, go ahead and send me an email so that we're not discussing your personal life too much in front of other people. But yeah, no, we'll see what we can do. Anything else, you guys? If not, my husband promised me shrimp tacos. Okay, yeah, then I won't reply to your email. Yeah, yeah, that's fine. Yeah, let's see. I understand completely, especially if you weren't able to complete all the coursework, that the EOC can kind of be kind of scary. But obviously there's going to be a day where there's not going to be work scheduled anymore, especially the 10th and 11th. If you don't have to take the final exam, the 10th and the 11th are still open. That's a good time to go back and reread any coursework that you may have missed the first time. So if you didn't read a particular text or a particular story, the 10th and the 11th, when there's no more scheduled work, is a great time to go back and work on that stuff to make sure that you've got it covered for the EOC. And then, like I said, make sure that you write down the information to get into USA test prep, so that you can still use that after the course closes and before you take your EOC. Because the USA test prep practice exams are very helpful. I've seen it do some great things for our students. Just getting them used to how the test works is helpful. Yeah, no problem, hon. I appreciate you guys for coming. I hate talking to an empty room. I am going to post this recording if there's anything that you want to try to go over again, or maybe your parents are interested. You want to show them that. I do know it ended up being an hour. It usually ends up being 45 minutes to an hour because there's always a lot to discuss in this class. I appreciate you for sticking around and for asking excellent questions. Like I said, I put my number there in the chat box. If you need to text me any questions over the course of the next week, week and a half, you shoot them at me. I will respond while I am cooking dinner, while I'm walking down the hallway, while I'm watching TV, whatever. Um, I'll get back to you. So thank you so much for coming. I appreciate it. I will post this recording. I usually end up uploading it to YouTube to make it easier to share out. So you all have a great evening. Text me any questions and study hard and work hard. You've all been, this course is, I mean, all things considered, things have gone so well this semester, all things considered. So I appreciate you all for sticking through it. You are free to go. Yes, please do.